First, I would like to ask you to quickly get involved in the subject. Mr. Bekir, I was looking for the current population of the two nuclear-armed countries, and thanks to my friends, it was written there. I mean, incredible numbers, of course. We are talking about India, which is close to 1.5 billion, and Pakistan, which is close to 2 million. We would like to hear from you about Mr. Gundoru. What is happening? Where will this issue evolve? Will it really use its nuclear weapons, or will it gradually reach a calmer point in the coming days? Before I leave it to you, let me tell you that there is information. Pakistani fighter jets took off from Kaklala Air Base, fully loaded. So Pakistan is obviously willing to up the ante, as India will not hold back. It's going to be a bad morning.
Now, this is not the first time these two countries have fought. They have fought 4 times. The first war was 1947 over Kashmir, and it shaped the present situation of Kashmir. The most serious war was the War of 1971, which led to the separation of part of Pakistan into Bangladesh in 1971. At first, it looked like a conflict over Kashmir, but it is very important to note that Indian attacks did not hit the Pakistani mainland. India is not exploring with missiles this evening, not in what we call the Azad discovery, but inside Pakistan. It was called a war from Pakistan's point of view, and the Indian Prime Minister used the word war in his first statement. India has responded a military operation on the pretext of terrorist acts. India's Prime Minister, this is very important, he used the word war. Now, I can say that Pakistan announced that India shot down its plane. Some sources say 1, some say 2.
The drone was added after that?
In Jammu Kashmir, it was announced that a helicopter had crashed in Indian-controlled Jammu Kashmir, and India, essentially Pakistan, hit 2 Indian bases in an airstrike. So when we talk about it quickly in this 4 or 5 hour period, we see this evolving into a war. What is the fundamental problem? Kashmir. My professors may have told you before I came, in 1947, 2 countries gained independence from India. Pakistan and India were 2 countries under British colonization and mandate. Kashmir was left as a principality. Then the prince in Kashmir, if my memory serves me correctly, decided to join India, which led to Pakistan's intervention. And I am talking about after 1947, and this happened. Really from the 40s of the world, perhaps with the occupation of Palestine. We are talking about the longest problem in the village, the Kashmir issue. For 3 days now, since Pakistan has officially announced it, they have been predicting an Indian attack. Yes, they were.
By the way, in the previous tensions between Pakistan and India, Pakistan attacked India for 12 to 14 days, 15 days, 14 days this time.
Let me tell you a prediction, Sumaya, now.
Here you go.
I'll give you a brief overview of the attack.
I will not interrupt you. Let me make this announcement first. Pakistan's National Security Committee has announced an emergency meeting in the morning. I'm putting this. And the BBC reporter said that you showed that red dot, the Indian-controlled area over the city of Srinagar, where they reported heavy fighter jet activity.
Now, there are 2 dimensions to this.
Please.
The line of contact in Kashmir, the line between India and the Pakistani army's ceasefire, which was in a ceasefire position, has broken down. This is the first one. That's the first one. Secondly, India has launched an attack from its own mainland into the Pakistani mainland. So this is not a Kashmir war. This is very important. This is not a Kashmir war. This is not a Kashmir war. The Indian and Pakistani armies are in opposing positions in Kashmir. There are artillery exchanges right now. It's not like a ceasefire violation or a breakdown of the ceasefire here tonight. India, so-called military operation, and what he called a response to acts of terrorism was an attack on the Pakistani mainland. Look, this part is very important. Pakistani territory was hit. Pakistan does not consider Azad Kashmir as its territory. He did not annex it. So it has not annexed this territory. Annexed it, he didn't. He was shot. This one, a war for Pakistan, despite India calling it a military operation. It's called war because they anticipated this attack, because this attack has been anticipated since 3 days.
Hit points.
Pakistan, as I see it, Pakistan with a general attack. Now the Muzaffarat region, Kashmir. Apart from that, well, see, did you see? Pakistan was hit. Did you see that? This is Pakistan. The Muzaffarat region includes Kashmir as well. It is very important from that point of view. What did he do? Because the Pakistan Air Force anticipated this attack. I also have a question here. I have been asking it since the evening. India has responded. Now, was it a rocket or a missile attack?
By the way, you said 2 airplanes, 1 or 2 has been confirmed.
Rafale, French Rafale,
There are two
of them. Now we are India, Ms. Sumaya.
He said.
We don't know the nature of the attack. It is rumored to be a missile attack, missile or rocket. Why couldn't the Pakistani air defense system stop it? I'm asking that seriously. There were 9. He says 3 main areas were hit. Were Indian airplanes used? That these things that were allegedly shot down were part of the Rafael Firos. So from the air, and India attacked. He says Pakistan responded because it was waiting. Now I apologize. The breath has been held. What are we saying? We're making nuclear weapons. Despite all these tensions, this nuclear level has not come in 2 countries. I think they will avoid it, a nuclear weaponizer. But as you just said, 20 days, 17 days, 15 days, approaching a month. For example, they clashed for 14 days before. After that, we saw mutual artillery exchanges on this line of contact.
Will we see a similar picture?
Yes, it will continue. Now India will answer.
How long will it last?
I can't predict. So this is war. If this is not stopped, if China, Russia, the US, the world does not intervene, we will look for the Ukraine war, right? So this is something else. We are talking about noble geopolitics.
By the way, the Indian Foreign Office said that we are in touch with officials in the US, UK, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Russia.
But Turkey
and this
met with
an hour
Hakan
ago.
Fidan's Pakistani counterpart. There is a statement by the Secretary General of the United Nations. Now India will respond to it. So Pakistan has responded. India will also respond. There is information coming to me. 2 bases were hit. It was announced that the base where these attacks took place was hit by Pakistan. As news, not an official statement. If those bases were also hit, the bases where these henchmen are taking off or where these missile batteries are located, Pakistan struck. Why is this happening? Both sides were ready. Especially Pakistan was waiting for this attack. We are talking about 2 countries that have been in conflict for years. Both are well aware of each other's military capabilities. They know very well. And with the first attack, these conflicts started. Now the question is, what will happen next? Will India respond to Pakistan's counterattack? This is very important,
India to
right?
Pakistan's counterattack.
Because its airplane was shot down and its helicopter was shot down over Kashmir and 2 of its bases were hit. Otherwise, in Kambu, Kashmir, in this region, let's say for this line, in general, their military structures are in those areas. Because this is on the Chinese side, they are in these areas. Will it turn into a frontal war? This is a very important point. Kashmir is a very interesting thing. You have given it in the map detail. Part of it is in China. Then Pakistan-China exchange relations are very good, by the way. I should also mention that.
Right.
Extremely good. Look, the territory that Pakistan handed over to China, they are so good with each other that they handed over territory. The real problem here is these water resources. Look, this is probably Tibet coming out of China. I don't want to say anything wrong. The water that comes out of the Tibetan region comes from this region and comes to Kashmir. And who controls this region? India. Water resources. Almost 70% of Pakistan's water supply comes from the Kashmir region. There was an agreement between India and Pakistan. Your professors know that they canceled that agreement. More precisely, India announced that it suspended it. It closed the lids of the dams it built in this region. It is not giving water to Pakistan. So we are facing a new multi-dimensional tension. Let's see if Russia, China, the US, European states will take a step to prevent this conflict.
Well, for example, let's say this war grows and China directly intervenes here. Will it intervene, not as it did in the past, such as shutting off the room valve of the sub-resources from China? Or will it really provide direct military support, for example, in places where we go through exercises? I am
saying that there will be an open support more diplomatically than militarily. It will take Pakistan's side. But China's policy is not to do this openly. In the developments and crises in Asia, China does not say, I am on someone's side, I am for this reason. But they have really good relations with Pakistan. No, exactly a few countries. I forgot the number of countries. He didn't. He gave those fifth-generation airplanes to Pakistan. I forget the exact series. This gave Pakistan a huge advantage over India in the Air Force. Pakistan's this should not be forgotten. It has a very serious Air Force, but India is numerically outnumbered. When we put the other armed forces, the number of tanks on top of each other, Pakistan is doubling. Of course, we are talking about the worst-case scenario. We don't want war to happen in any way. But in general, if this is going to turn into a frontal war, look, my assessment is that it seems to be in the form of airstrikes on the mainland. The ground war will be on this front line. So if there is a war, it will be inside Kashmir. Both sides will try to expand their sphere of control in Kashmir. This is how Ms. Sumaye has been in previous tensions. 1,971, except for one. Other than that, the wars have generally been Kashmir wars or conflicts. There is an exceptional situation in what is called independent Kashmir or Azad Kashmir, which is controlled by Pakistan. There are also armed elements here, supported by Pakistan. In other words, apart from the Pakistani army, there are armed elements supported by Pakistan. It is an issue that needs to be evaluated in many dimensions and from different perspectives. For a long time in Asia, the Taiwan tension has remained only at the level of tension. We do not see a conflict where guns are talking, except for Afghanistan. There was a war in Afghanistan. We don't see it in this region. These are two countries with nuclear weapons. These are neighbors in China and Putin. Afghanistan on one side and the big ocean on the other. We will wait and see. The declarations have come. There is no declaration of war. They are already in a ceasefire situation in Kashmir. India said military operation. We are using the word war in the statement of the Pakistani Prime Minister. But in the morning, Pakistan will convene a national security concert. It will be a little bit clear after that meeting where this will evolve.
It certainly will. By the way, you also mentioned it. Pakistan is the first country outside of China to have a fleet of stealth JAA multi-role fighter jets. Except China, the only global country. Let's say that too. By the way, it would not be wrong to say a minute or two ago, Pakistan Army spokesman said that we will avenge every drop of blood spilled by India. You know, we are talking about where it will evolve and what will happen in the coming days. The tension is getting higher and higher, Zainab Hoja. I guess none of us can imagine where it will end up, right?